This is the 20th season of Bass Talk Live. BTL is presented by Bass Cat Boats, Strike King Lures, Aftco, Pro Guide Batteries, Spro, Gamakatsu, The Bass Tank, Denali Rods, Beatdown Outdoors, and Sunline.
BTL coming at you.
Good morning, and welcome to another exciting edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we are going to talk about bass fishing. Well, I mean, these are just a tad hot there. We'll just bump that down. I mean, it is a holiday week. Hopefully, everyone is able to spend time with family and get out on the water for a lot of the country, especially down south. Thanksgiving week is a great opportunity to get back and get out on the water. I know our guest today has been out on the water a lot. He is in charge of Best on Tour, my title sponsor on the Bassmaster Opens since the 2020 season, delivering weekly industry content for free to an email box near you. So we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on Best on Tour. I remember when they started that, when Dave started that and working on the content, and it comes out once a week, and now all of a sudden it's in episode 300. So some special giveaways for BTL listeners for bestontour.net subscribers on that. And then I didn't know how to handle this. You know, there's a lot of sponsors that make BTL possible. I try to integrate them in the show so you can learn about the products, about the content, about what they offer. A symbiotic relationship is what I call it. And Black Friday is obviously coming up. So I said, you know what, instead of inundating everybody with Black Friday deals and steals for the weeks leading up to it, screw it, we'll just do a Black Friday show. So that's what we're doing today. The links for pretty much everything that we're talking about, all the deals that are happening on Black Friday week are in the link in the YouTube description. So as we talk about them and show what they are, should that be something that you would like to add to your arsenal, you can just click on the link and get it. So without further ado, let's bring in Dave Rush out in South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina. Are you guys like completely over all of the hurricane stuff out there? It's like an out of sight, out of mind thing. We were just talking about this with one of my buddies that I was out in the boat with yesterday, where it's like, dude, like, you know, something hits a part of the country, like a tornado in Oklahoma, like everybody's focused on it for a week or two, and then, you know, you go on with your life. Like, what is the flooding and hurricane situation out in the Carolinas like, Dave? Is everything back up and rolling, or is still dealing with some stuff?
So this one was a little different, Matt. I mean, you know, typically when we're dealing with hurricanes in South Carolina, it's usually a coastal deal. This storm, Helene, as everybody is aware now, did some significant damage to the upper part of South Carolina and North Carolina. So I'm actually upstate now, up at Clarks Hill Lake, and this area was, I'm not going to say decimated, but I mean, it was without power for 3 weeks. There's several state parks that are still not open, probably not going to be open until well into the new year. A lot of pine trees up in this area, as you well know, going to Lake Hartwell. You know, they had to cancel the last open or move it. The last Bassmaster Open, it was supposed to be at Hartwell. So you can definitely still tell that it came through. Most of the areas here have, you know, obviously received power back and things of that nature. But, you know, from my understanding, areas in North Carolina, a lot of places still do not have power, running water, things like that. But it was definitely an ordeal in this area of the country for sure.
That's wild. That far after still not having power. I think on my end, all of my power and internet, which are definitely first world issues compared to actual life threatening and survival issues, are handled. But it's been a little bit of frustrating, but we got it going on. Any big Thanksgiving plans for you? I know I am headed back to Illinois this evening to spend time with my family on Thanksgiving, and then we'll be back. So the next BTL, we're going to give Frank the day off on Thursday. No BTL tomorrow, and the next BTL will be Monday, December 2nd. But that week we're also coming back. We're also filming a number of Guide Day episodes. and preparing for Mexico, which then is the 9th through the 15th. Some BTL listeners coming along on that trip, so we'll have recorded shows that week. But what was the question, Dave?
Any Thanksgiving plans?
Yeah.
Pretty much the same for me. Nothing like you have going on. But man, it's a busy time of year for me. Most people Thanksgiving week, you kind of are looking towards that holiday and maybe have the week off or can kind of step away from the laptop, from the office for a while. But man, it just seems like the last month and a half has just been pretty much straight Black Friday holiday deals, getting everything ready for that, and then executing them and trying to keep everybody updated on what all the brands that we are involved with have going on.
So you mentioned that, Dave. In addition to bestontour.net, you work with, what would you say, marketing and placement for a number of different brands throughout the industry. We've talked a little bit about this on BTL. No secret that we're not experiencing in the industry the same type of growth and purchasing habits and numbers that we saw in 2020, 2021. We've done shows on a number of reasons why that could or could not be a good trend to look at. Talk a little bit about, from what you've seen and in your opinion, what 2024, kind of now that it's in the rear view mirror, has been like in the apparel, in the tackle, rods and reels, in that entire industry. Good, bad, indifferent, signs for caution, signs for hope moving forward into 2025 and beyond.
Well, as most people know that follow your show and subscribe to Best on Tour, I mean, the fishing and outdoor industry really had a boom during the pandemic. Numbers were through the roof, on all that stuff, because frankly, that's people were getting outside, people were camping, people were hunting, fishing. There were a lot of people that were introduced to fishing for the first time. So anything after that has been, obviously a drop in sales and some participation. I think 2024 has been a year where companies, I mean, it's been good for most companies. I feel like it hasn't been as bad as some people, may be led to believe. A lot of companies are holding their own, up slightly, still doing well, introducing a lot of new product. But I think there is a ton of optimism for 2025. All of our brands are really planning for a growth year in 2025. It seems like people are really looking forward to being able to get back on the water and feel a little bit more comfortable spending some of that extra income that they may have been kind of holding back on spending, moving into 2025. So I'm really positive about 2025.
Are you seeing and working with these companies, whether it be a line or a bait or terminal tackle, are you seeing a shift in are companies making decisions based on what tournament anglers are doing, specifically, not to be controversial at all, but the forward facing sonar trend? Are you seeing a lot of R&D that has gone into the past year to where in 2025 we're going to see a lot of new products that people don't even know are coming out? Or are you seeing the companies that are saying, hey, this is all going to kind of revolve back around to the way it used to be, and this is just an abnormal spike as people try it, and then we'll return to the tried and true things?
I think without question, Matt. I mean, you weren't at ICAST this year, but even the year before, you saw the kind of introduction of numerous forward-facing sonar baits. People trying to figure out different baits, different things that could be applicable to that technology, other than just a jig head minnow. And now it's kind of turned into who can make the best jig head minnow, different style jig heads, things of that nature. You're seeing innovations in that realm with companies such as Sunline, who introduced the first sinking braid to the market, the All Might. So even braided lines that are designed and developed to give you better feel and a better better line for utilizing forward-facing sonar. So I don't think that's going away anytime soon. I think the consensus, within the tackle industry is that hard bait sales, your conventional type lure sales have definitely been hurt, by the advent of forward-facing sonar. But people are definitely still trying to adapt and make the best out of that situation moving forward.
It's interesting. I'll be interested to see, and this is something that you have kind of an inside track on. I've got all the deals. I'm going to pull this up. I was reading Half Past First Cast with Pete and Hannah Robbins. He's a guest on the show quite regularly. They globetrot in between him doing legal stuff as a lawyer, but he posted this thing on the Brandon Polinick, like the Megabass bait that came out, meet the Makippa or whatever it was. Anyway, long story short, I looked at that and went, man, I think people are underestimating when it comes to this, that there may be an entirely new lures that have existed in other countries. Like I said, I just got back from Japan and there were entire aisles of what the hell is this? Right. But it obviously sells. Like they wouldn't have it in the shows if it wasn't. But you see things like this, and I think everyone's going, my God, it'll just be a jig and minnow. And I would venture to say that there will be a lot of tweaks and new, but I think there's an entire category of hard baits that hasn't been unleashed yet. And it takes, like, how long does it take from what you've seen to go from in one of these companies, a concept to shelf where it's a finished product? I mean, it's long time, isn't it, Dave?
Yeah, it is for sure. I mean, and you have different companies do it different ways. One of the companies we work with, Spro, their deal has always been getting, specific input from their pro staff. And that usually takes, well, I can't say, sometimes it does take a little bit longer because they're going back and forth. So typically how that works is it starts as a concept, just a drawing on a paper, and the pros kind of showing the company exactly how they want something to look, and then it goes from there into development, and there's a lot of tweaking back and forth. Most of these baits are made overseas, so you're getting a mold, you're going from a concept on a piece of paper to typically a CAD drawing of some sort, which has to be specific measurements, specific weights, specific bill angle, whatever you're dealing with. Then it's having to go overseas. They're making a prototype. It's coming back. There's some testing. It's going back and forth. So it's usually a year or more process. In some instances, it can be shorter, but, it does take a while from start to finish. Your colors, your finishes, getting it exactly right. And then, you got to think about your packaging. All of that. I mean, it's a big deal, man. It's not just something that somebody's like, oh, I got an idea for a bait, and then it's done in 2 months and you see it on your shelf. So definitely,
I think, obviously that freeloader, the Crush City, the one that Wheeler helped design that Rapala came out with, I think they were massive beneficiaries of the fact that they had a minnow style bait. Almost, I would love to get the story behind that, but almost, I don't want to say by accident, but originally I think that was more designed as a chatterbait trailer, that when the minnow craze blew up, that had already been in production in design for a year, right? Like over a year. And then boom, it was available product. And that's why everybody has the freeloaders, because you could actually buy them while everyone else was in plans to make or produce, package, market, design their own. They kind of had like a head start.
Yeah, for sure. And when you're talking about soft plastics, there's probably a little less time involved in developing most soft plastics. A lot of the soft plastics are actually poured here in the United States, so that cuts down on some of the R&D time and production time with that as well.
Yeah, that's what Jody White said. He said the way Wheeler tells it, it wasn't on purpose, at least as he recall. I'd love to see the difference between the freeloader and like their other soft plastic sales, like if it's across the border, if it's like the freeloaders, like, the Babe Ruth of the line.
Yeah, I'm not sure, on how, obviously that bait has been a hot
Hmm.
bait on the market for a while now, and revolved around, based off, I would say the hog farmer spunk shad to a
Yep.
certain degree. I don't know whether that bait was really it. It was obviously marketed, as a bladed jig chatterbait type trailer, and I think people started putting it to different use with the forward facing sonar, and now you see kind of where that's gone. It's one of the hottest baits out there. That style of bait for your forward facing sonar.
And then I would imagine if you do something like John Cruz did, and I'm not sure how that's going to affect Missile with RoboWorm's new acquisition, but you mentioned the hog farmer and the spunk shad. John did that, kind of partnered with
Hmm.
hog farmer to come out with a Missile version of that, partnered with RoboWorm to come out with the magic worm. I would imagine that would have to cut down on some of the time from concept to market as well when you're dealing with something that's already in production.
Absolutely, and if you pay attention to some of those collaborations, which is a relatively new thing within the industry, and it's really cool if you think about it. I mean, for years it was kind of, you wouldn't cross swords, you wouldn't collaborate with another brand within the industry because the competition just didn't allow it, and you're starting to see more collaborations between companies. And you're getting some really good products out of it, like Missile, for instance, the spunk shad that Cruz is selling there at Missile Baits. If you compare it to the hog farmer spunk shad, there's definitely some different colors. He's got some great sizes, and that's been a really popular bait for them. And then his collaboration with RoboWorm, the magic worm,
Mm-hmm.
that's not just a regular RoboWorm that you're used to throwing. That's a totally different bait and some really cool colors, two sizes he's got going on, with that collaboration. And that's become really one of my favorite worms to throw for different applications. I know you're a big fan of it too.
I am. It was interesting. I was talking with him. There's just stuff behind the scenes, like you talk about like 10.99 a pack, but then about how many come in a pack. There's like 14 worms per bag, and what you don't understand and what you see, being you literally live behind the scenes, is like how you balance between like how many in a pack, how much it costs to produce, like what people will be willing to buy. So you see the 10.99 a pack, but then you
Right.
justify it by putting 14 in a worm. Well, why don't you just go 6 with 12? And I've talked with John, I went to Japan with them about all the different, how you like have to level it out to like what makes sense for everyone that's involved in that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've been in meetings about that as well. It comes up, behind the scenes, like you say, you have, different groups of people that are involved in all of that. And your sales rep to, come to you with information, kind of boots on the ground and telling you, hey, it's a pricey pack of worms. And but the answer is, well, it's actually more worms if you pay attention. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a quality product. So there's definitely a balance there for sure.
You're familiar with like Clay's talking about too, that Z-Man and Evergreen, which you actually were the one that filmed and did all the concept and all that behind the 20 feet deep with rad lures and Z-Man then. So it's there's a lot more that goes on behind the scenes with companies, with collaborations, with figuring out what comes out, when, how much to charge, what then a lot of people realize. Would you not agree, Dave?
Oh, totally. I mean, it's like we were talking about earlier in the show. It's a whole process, and if you go back, and is that stuff still available? Do you still have it posted on the YouTube, the 20 feet deep stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had somebody ask me about the chatterbait one other day. I mean, that's obviously a unique story, that you guys can go back on YouTube and watch. We had a really good time filming that with the Davises and Daniel over there at Z-Man. Those guys were
6 years ago.
very gracious. Was it? I think it was longer than that.
Oh yeah, it was reposted 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that story's out there. That's kind of one of the probably. I mean, would you say that's one of the last big success? I mean, not success, but this kind of garage bait concepts that just kind of blew up.
Was that before or after the A-Rig?
That was before.
Yeah, so the A-Rig would have been the
A-Rig,
next for
Mhm.
sure. And then the Whopper Plopper. I'm just
Yeah.
talking like bass fishing tournament world. A it starts as a specific bait and then it turns into a style of bait, right?
Sure.
And then the jig and minnow. For a while there's been a couple.
Like you were talking about earlier, I mean, the jig and minnow is just something it's been around. It's just now being utilized in a different way with forward-facing sonar. I think you're also seeing, like you were talking about, different baits you saw in Japan that are going to be players here. I think forward-facing sonar has also kind of revived some old school baits and had people do some different things. Like you look at like the jig and spoon. I mean, obviously a good winter bait, but people are, doing a lot of different things now with jig and spoons. I mean, making tungsten jig and spoons. So they're smaller profile, specifically geared towards forward-facing sonar anglers. Probably a good time to dig around in your tackle box and look at some of those older baits that you really haven't pulled out and utilize them with forward-facing sonar if you're a fan of that style of fishing. I think there's a lot of applications with older baits. Tail spinners, that would be another one that you and I have utilized and people don't talk about as much, like Little George style baits, things like that guys caught fish on for years and kind of put them up and hadn't been using them because there's been better baits, frankly, and now it's kind of made a comeback with forward-facing sonar.
I'll tell you the one bait that I thought was going to be like the next. It had all of the elements of the next like thing that would sweep the country as far as what everybody would using, and then it just died out. There's a number of different versions. I'm just on Missile's website already. So the heavy turd or heavy poop, whatever you want to call it, the know nothing, heavy, salt weighted, weightless, whatever the hell that is. Depths had one, obviously. Like it started in Japan, Japanese company, but that thing was the scat style bait. I don't know why, but it seemed like everybody was throwing the scat style bait. And, I was sitting there looking at it and I've never even owned one. And I'm like, okay, what are the most popular things that you can cast, things that are smaller, because when that came out, Ned rig was huge. Things that can be fishing multiple things, the water column. Think of the Cinco, think of subtle falling action. Like it still has all of the elements of what could be insane. It just doesn't look like it doesn't look like crap. And then I mean that bait just seemed to stall like across the bass fishing world.
I agree. I agree with you, Matt. I had some of the early ones, the cover scat, when it was, really hard to get your hands on it. And the only time I recall seeing, kind of it on the national scene was a BPT event when Shin Fukai was doing some damage with it when they were at Chickamauga. And that was kind of in a ledge application with some heavier line. Shin was a big fan of that bait. And I think he had been utilizing it, for a while before people really got the hang of it. But that's another thing, like you talk about, baits like that come out and different things are designed around it. Like Gamakatsu released that Worm 34R hydral hook that has the swivel built in at the top of the eye there to prevent line twist. And it was designed specifically for scat style baits in Japan and Lake Biwa. Kind of the story behind those things, where there's a lot of rocks in those Japanese lakes, and anglers were getting hung up a ton when you use conventional Texas rigs.
Is that it?
Applications. Yep, that's it.
I swear this wasn't playing. Dave has no idea what we were talking about today. It just worked.
Yeah, so kind of the development behind those baits. Anglers in Japan and those rocky reservoirs were getting hung up a ton with conventional Texas rigs, soft plastics, Carolina rigs, things like that. So they developed those heavy scat style baits to be able to work through those rocks more easily, without getting snagged so readily. So one thing with that, is it does have a good bit of line twist. So that 34R hydral, and that's become kind of the go-to hook. It really wasn't purposely designed for that, but if you think about it,
fluke,
these herring style lakes, that's become kind of the go-to fluke style hook, in the Savannah River chain, Lake Lanier, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Things where guys are throwing flukes a lot, prevents a lot of line twist, also adds adds a little bit of weight without having to add that swivel and leader combination. So you go from having 3 knots to 1 knot without using that leader, and prevent the line twist, give you a little bit of weight to keep that fluke down, and that's a really cool hook, designed and released by Gamakatsu earlier in the year.
Yeah, I totally forgot. I had a sample pack of that from one of the deals, and right now it doesn't suit any type of my fishing, but I did think when it first came out, like, dude, that'd be awesome on a fluke.
Yeah, really cool. Prevents having to deal with all the swivel and short leader applications if you're a fan of that style of fishing.
Look at that, a compliment from Clay Williamson. You're doing something right, Dave.
Oh, well, appreciate it, Clay.
Clay's been doling out compliments on a regular basis. I don't know if it's just the holiday season or what's gotten into him.
He's in a festive mood.
He is. Look at Jody White. That's a cool hook. Jody White hasn't thrown anything but a jig and a minnow since 1974. He was the original.
He's the original jig and minnow guy.
Yeah, he was putting the crappie jig head on the 3-inch gulp minnow in smelt color back in the day.
Well, you think about it. I mean, before that, think about how many big bass have been caught on crappie jigs when you're just out crappie fishing. Yeah. Prior to the way you've been doing it recently. I mean, man, that's a whole different deal there, man. I've been really cool watching not only you and Matt's in Fisherman Quest, but just kind of seeing your social media and kind of getting into that. I'm thinking about taking the plunge.
Oh, dude, you need to. It's so much fun, especially like, let's say you kill your deer early or you don't deer hunt or you want something. So I don't know if I've talked about. So that's those are the slabs that I just caught the other day, right? So those are all 2 1/4 to 2.5 pound crappie. They don't even look like fish. I mean, it's the difference between like a 6-pound bass and a 10-pound bass, right? And I'm not saying these are the equivalent of 10-pound bass. These are big crappie, not giant. Most people's PBs. But the way you catch them, and I went through it with Zeke when Zeke Anderson was in studio the other day. So I went out and I was on this lake, and first of all, I tried to catch like lethargic buffalo for the first hour. And I literally like reached my 15-foot rod down and like was poking around one because I couldn't get any reaction. And I saw a forked tail. So I was like,
only you would do that.
Not crappie. But I see like, and it's all scope unapologetically. So I see one like this ball, like if my screen is my live scope screen, right? So just assume my screen is a live scope screen, and where my name is where the boat is, right? So like this little red, can you see that red hat in the corner right there? Like actually that's the Buc-ee's hat up there with the ears on it. That's where my boat is. So gosh, this is hard. I don't know how Frank does it. So I'm like looking out 30 foot and like my fist is like a bright return. And I'd seen like 5 or 6, like it's 6 inches under the surface. And I like dip my jig down and it just goes dong, and it's a 2-pound crappie. And I'm like, holy cow. They were all 6 to 8 inches underneath the surface in the middle of the lake. And you could get up 8-10 feet behind them and drop on them, and you just see them go from like this. They'd turn into a crowd, dong, and they'd smoke it, and then you just, and it's so much fun. I released every single one of them. I put a couple big ones in the box. Water temp was in the low 50s. Actually, I have video of me releasing them. So is that hunting.
Atypical for them to be that high in the water column? Are they up sunning, or what are they doing?
Yeah, I think they're up sunning. So the bass will do the exact same thing that we found out in the middle. And it's like, I was just talking with Scott Palmer from the Bass Tank about this, and it has something to do with turnover, with oxygen level, and then actually like sunning themselves. And we're seeing a lot of really good quality bass that are very high in the water column that A, we never knew existed, and B, we never targeted even when we saw. So you're talking about 3 to 5 pound bass that are sitting in the upper part of the water column, not inactive, but not actively hunting either. Just positioned there with their bodies on the sun, especially during late fall, early winter, when water temps are dropping and when the lake is muddy. So where you would expect these fish to be on the bottom and lethargic and catching them with a black and blue jig or something on the bottom, they're actually very high and suspended.
That's interesting. You guys, we still
There's a little bass talk for you there, Tech 19.
Our water temperatures here are still still in the upper 60s. We haven't had a really big sustained cold snap. We're supposed to have one here come through, cold front come through Thursday night, and it's supposed to get pretty cold, for the following week. So hopefully we'll get some of that water temperature down and start to see what you're saying.
A lot more questions about the Hydra roll hook. Yes, is that a Spro swivel?
Yeah, Spro Gamakatsu swivel.
A Spro Gamakatsu swivel that is actually, I don't know how they attached it, but that spins on the top of the hook. That's the name, the Hydrol. So instead of the eye of the hook, it's literally like the barrel swivel, the high quality barrel swivel is welded into the Gamakatsu hook.
And it's a different design. So the hook itself is actually a unique design too. It's somewhat similar. If I know a lot of guys were a big fan of Mike McClellan's hybrid worm hook.
Yeah, it looks similar to that.
It's similar. It's not exactly the same, but it's a really cool design of the hook as well. A little different than some of the other Gamakatsu ones, but those are the scat baits and the fluke baits, style baits, are the kind of the only ones I've used it on. I'm sure there are a ton more applications. I mean, that would be.
Yeah, that spins indefinitely on the top. Like it's not like that's not just the hook like that. It's not the barrel swivel. Like you take a bait on it and spin it, that bait spins on it. It prevents line twist, like you said, for all that stuff. So yes, Pete.
Yep, and it also, gives a little bit more action to your bait if you think about it as well.
Yeah. Jody saying that hybrid hook is money on a Carolina rig. A lot of guys flip with that hook too. I know guys who flip with that hybrid worm hook.
That's what I was saying. I mean, I haven't used it on a Carolina rig. I never would have thought about that, but you think about it, your Carolina rig gets some line twist too, and that's a great application as well.
Yeah. All right, let's get into these deals. We're half an hour into the show. I feel like we'll cover some good topics. We're going to go commercial free during this show since we are highlighting a lot of companies that have Black Friday deals. Let's kick things off with.
Do we really even call them Black Friday deals anymore?
Why wouldn't we be able to?
I mean, I've been getting Black Friday emails for the last 2 months.
Yeah, well, you're sending half of them. Let's kick things off.
Sorry, folks.
Let's kick things off with what's going on Best on Tour. Congratulations, first of all, on the 300th episode.
Thank you.
Was there any thought when you started this that it would last 300 episodes or issues?
No, I mean, you never really think about things like that when you start it. Obviously you're hopeful that something you start and put effort into is going to be successful and it's accepted by people. And we're really grateful for all our subscribers and everybody that supports Best on Tour, all the brands, but most importantly, like I said, our subscribers. Without those guys, there is no Best on Tour newsletter. But man, to think about it, I mean, an issue a week for 300 issues, that's going on almost 6 years. It's crazy to me that time has gone by that quickly, and that we are on our 300th issue, which will come out Thursday on Thanksgiving of all times.
And then let me throw this back up there.
Thanks. Go back to that one you were just on too.
Okay, there you go.
So one of the new features there on the website. So if you guys subscribe to it, great. If you I know a lot of people clean up their inbox, things like that. If you ever want to go back and look at an issue, they're now posted. The issues from 2020, issues from 2024 are posted on our website. You can just basically go on there, click. You can look at it on the website. It was cataloged in a different way. We made the switch, so all of the archived issues from this year on there, not the entire 6 years of it. There was a link where you could actually go back and look at those through our email service. But
we're talking. I mean, if you're not familiar with it, like this issue, this is the one. This is issue 299, Winning Baits 2024 Elite Series regular season. You're talking. You go through every winning bait for the year, what percentage of the bait it was, the whole 9 yards. It's interesting. You have deals in there, stuff behind the scenes. You have an Angler's Tribune that is typically a blog from, but yeah, you can go back through. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that's a new one, isn't it?
Yep, new feature there that we're having. A lot of people were interested in looking back at issues and not necessarily having to find it in their email inbox. So it's available there on bestontour.net if you want to go back and check out any past issues or share it with a friend or use it for. I mean, most importantly, one of the big deals, like you talked about, are the stats. You know, if you want to use those for reference and something that you're interested in doing, or you know, want to share it. A lot of industry people use our stats for meetings, market research, things like that, and consumers, you know, get an idea of kind of where things stand in the industry and tournament fishing in general based on some of the stats.
Very nice. For the 300th episode, there is a giveaway that is. I'll run through that. There's what's the giveaway?
So in celebration of our 300th issue, you know, we wanted to do something special for our loyal subscribers and also reward some new subscriber there. So basically what we're going to do is I'm going to run this contest. All you do, if you're not already subscribed, go to bestontour.net, subscribe for free. If you subscribe prior to our December 14th issue, we're going to go in, pick a random new subscriber. You're going to receive an awesome prize pack from our partners, which are listed there below on the graphic. It's going to be a substantial prize pack, and then we're also going to choose one of our current subscribers to give the same prize pack as well. Just kind of a way to say thank you and welcome some new people to also subscribe to the newsletter.
There you go. bestontour.net. Link for that is in the YouTube description.
Yep, and the winners will be announced in the December 14th issue and on Best on Tour social media channels as well.
All right, let's get into some Black Friday deals. Let's kick it off first of all with something that's a little bit one-off. You've done this before and it went really well. A lot of BTL listeners are big custom paint crankbait guys that still crank. So I think this is the third time that you've done this with Greenfish.
Yeah, this is collaboration number 3 with John over there at Greenfish Tackle, and we've been doing them with Spro. The first collaboration was rock crawler, 2 rock crawler custom colors. Second was sashimi swimmer during the herring spawn time of year, and now our third one is another rock crawler collaboration with Greenfish and Spro. Custom painted, 2 colors available, BOT blue and red wave. And both of those colors, you know, obviously pictures can't do custom painted crankbait justice in my opinion, but both of those colors are more of an opaque kind of see-through color. The BOT
translucent.
Blue, yeah, translucent. BOT blue, you don't necessarily see that as much in the picture. But great baits, there are still some available. Link to buy those is in our profile on the Best on Tour Instagram account. It's been in several of our newsletters and also on our Best on Tour Facebook. And if you just want to go to Greenfish Tackle's website, there's a big banner, easy to find, and
I also direct linked it in the YouTube description.
Yep, and there's still some available. Don't know how many exactly, but typically they go pretty quickly.
All right, this next one, we'll move on. Since we've been talking about Gamakatsu, we'll talk about Gamakatsu, and this one warmed my heart because one of the things that we do with BTL is rotate ads, right? So now there's one me talking about the nano coating, but it replaced a Michael Neal pocket knife ad, which I really just loved seeing Michael Neal just whip his pocket knife out of his sheath and being like, "You'll never catch me without one of these blades."
And that's legit. I mean, if you ever spend time around Michael Neal, he is a guy who
I hung on to that commercial as long as I could. But if you want to get your own EDC Gamakatsu knife, that's their Black Friday deal, right?
Yeah, I mean, 50% off a high quality everyday. EDC stands for everyday carry, by the way. Everyday carry pocket knife. Simple. It's very prominent on the Gamakatsu website. Head on over there. 50% off a great pocket knife. Can't really beat that deal.
Yeah. So I mean, you can get the $128 pocket knife, $64, $40, $43. I've had these in my hands. They're they're pretty cool. So that's a fantastic gift item. Also, just fantastic to carry one of those in the boat for safety reasons as well.
And a little different. I mean, not, spot on fishing related. If you're looking for a gift for somebody that isn't necessarily even, hardcore angler or whatever, a lot of people carry pocket knives, a lot of uses. So great deal there from our friends over at Kamakatsu.
All right, let's make the move to Sunline. A couple different things from Sunline. The first would be walk me through this Sunline stuff, because we've got apparel and we also have 40% off of select fluoro.
Yep. So 40% off of Sunline Assassin FC and Sunline Super Fluorocarbon. I know you guys are familiar with both of those. Good quality lines. A lot of people are really big fans of the Assassin line, and it's 40% off on that, and we've got 20% off of all of the Sunline apparel and gear. So that includes like your Sunline cases, the camo line bag, the
camo line bag's 20% off.
Yeah, 20% off. You look at the all of the gear there as well. So there's a lot of stuff there. Hard cases, pretty much everything in the gear section is 20% off. So some good savings there.
Walk me through here. So this is Black Friday deals, shop fishing line, and then all this stuff that says flash sale on the top is the Black Friday stuff.
Yep, absolutely. The model. Go ahead and click on one of them there. Yep, and then the discount is added once you put it in the cart. There's a lot of companies that have it listed, but some of them you need to put it in the cart. So just pay attention when you look at your cart. See, it's
so
full.
If I add that to the cart and check out,
yeah, so it drops it down to $16.98.
There you go. All right.
And then another thing too, if you go back to the homepage there, on Sunline, kind of talk about something I've noticed with Black Friday deal. Scroll up, yeah. So free shipping on orders up to $75 or $75 over $75. That's one thing that I've noticed with Black Friday deals. Some companies are not offering any sort of free shipping. Once you hit a certain number, they're not offering free shipping. So that's something to keep in mind when you're purchasing Black Friday deals. Sometimes the shipping will cost more than some of the items you're trying to purchase. So, but yeah, a lot of stuff going on. Model FC, I believe there's some braided line too. That's 40% off through Sunline. So on the braid section, I think the FX2. Yep.
It
just went past
it. Oh my gosh. Where was it? Oh,
right
there it is, right there.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's the Dean Rojas, the frogging and flipping braid. That's also 40% off. So a good time to stock up on that if you're looking to get some quality braid.
There you go.
And then if you are a fan of sinking braid, it's not the All Might, but there is in the clearance section, there is a Model FC sinking braid, and it's extremely affordable. There you go, right there.
The System Leader?
The second one. That guy right there.
Okay. So
you probably saw that one when you were in Japan.
Yeah.
But that's a good way to kind of wet your feet and test out a sinking braid.
$10 for a spool.
Yeah, $10. I mean, grab a spool and see if you like it. I know you and I have talked about it before.
66% off.
Yeah, I mean, the All Might's the kind of the flagship of the sinking braid. This one right here is a high quality sinking braid as well. You and I have talked about that as well. It's you don't think about it, but it's a different feel when you use that sinking braid. You definitely feel more of a drag.
Yeah.
So a good way to get into the sinking braid market, to try it out with some of your forward facing.
My God, there I am.
Oh, there you are.
Look at that. Just peering off into the abyss, wondering why I can't catch above 11 pounds. Like, what do I have to do to get above 11 pounds today?
I feel like we should charge people more for that sweatshirt just because you're.
Well, I'm trying to get. Okay. Here is this the gear bag right here.
The camo one that you like? Yeah, that one. Yeah.
That's 20% off.
Yep. All gear and accessories, 20%.
I would highly recommend a couple of these. That's what I keep my line in. I've showed it before.
I had one sitting around here somewhere I could show you.
Yeah, those are badass, for lack of a
Yeah, and
better term.
I mean, you know, grab a few of them. I mean, reel. That's an awesome reel case. If you're somebody that likes to carry your reels, carry some extra reels.
Yeah, so I will have. I'm like I said, I'm headed to Mexico too. I have those deals there. I'll put my 6 reels in there.
Yep, and you can lay it out pretty much any way you want to. You can take all the dividers out. You can do whatever you want to do. Super easy to hook up however you want to hook it up and store all types of different stuff.
All right, so that's what we got going on at Sunline. Let's go to Spro. Spro's lost their damn mind, Dave.
Man, there right now. If you want some Spro baits, head over to Spro's website. I mean, unbelievable deals, man. I mean,
Did you give me a Spro? Is there a Spro? That's not it. Is there a Spro?
There is not a Spro. Yeah, there was a
okay,
Spro.
We'll just go to the website and we'll
head over to the website. That is the best way to do it. Just go to the Spro website, everybody, right now, and just check out their Black Friday deals. I mean, it's you talk about some deals. I mean, there's most of that stuff is 70% off.
All right, here we go.
That's probably one of the deepest discounts I've seen advertised
in industry wide.
Yeah,
the Spro one is going to be hard to beat. All right, here we go. There's Spro. You go to the first one. Black Friday deal start now, and then you scroll down and you're like, what? 13 pages? This is all insane. So just run through it. Aruku shads for $350.
Now there are certain colors, not every
right.
color are on discount, but I mean $350 for an Aruku shad. That's hard to beat.
Bronzeye blade 65, like the like all of the colors.
That's all colors.
Yeah, the frog with the Spro frog with the little blades in the back. 70% off.
A $14 frog.
Yep, 70% off on that. The
spit shads, bronzeye shads.
Yep.
The Pop 70, which was that the larger version of the Poppin' Frog.
In Red Ear and Spook Nasty, which are 2 badass colors.
Mm-hmm.
$3.90.
Yeah, I mean, basically you can get what
this is Spro.com.
You can get what three. I mean, you can basically get 4 for what you were normally paying for 1.
This is Spro.com. These are Spro Black Friday.
Scroll through the pages till you find the rock crawlers.
Okay, so on the side, if you want to see like what it is, you can actually see what it is. So if you scroll down to just the regular,
go to the DD50.
So the 50s.
Yeah. So the DD50, I don't know if you've thrown that one. That one is a great bait this time of year. It's the smaller version, the 50, but a deep diver.
$3.90.
Yeah. I mean, just stock up. Now that one is limited colors, but there's
Clear Gill, Electric Red, Green Gizzard, Red Bug, Spring Craw. Yeah, they're normally 13.
Yeah, all types of stuff going on at Spro for Black Friday.
Yeah.
And one other one is cool, man. Go to the Outsider crankbait.
The Outsider.
Yeah. And there's 2 or 3 versions, I think.
Yeah.
So that was one that was released a couple of years ago. That was a high dollar bait due to some of the finishes and some of the components with it. I think it was like a $25, $26 crankbait.
Yeah.
That's, it's $6 or $22.
Yeah.
$6 on that. I mean, that's definitely something. It's the weighting system is different. It's a cool bait.
If you go to the left side and you just click crankbait, it shows the Aruku shads, the Fat Papas for $5, the Outsiders for $6.60, Rock Crawlers for $3.90, Wameku shads for $3.90. You can literally.
Yeah, I mean,
there's
all kind of stuff on there, man. You could. I mean, it's just
all their tons of their bucktails. That's what they actually sell the most of is bucktails.
Yeah, believe it or not. I mean, the Spro is huge for the Spro bucktail. Probably their most popular offering.
So anyway.
Yep. So
that's Spro. That's worth at least a couple $100, I would think.
Yeah.
and be able to get it, whatever you want. AFCO's running some really good sales.
Yeah, AFCO.
Actually, big shout out to AFCO. We just concluded the BTL AFCO Reaper giveaway. They'll be contacting the winner for that, but some really good stuff going on at AFCO.
Yeah, AFCO is one of the companies that does a really great job with keeping you informed with their e-blast. If you haven't already, head over there, subscribe to their newsletter. They're constantly keeping you updated on new drops and clearance stuff and sales and whatnot. I believe they have, I think it's 50% off of last season, specific seasons from last day holiday drop items. So seasonal.
So it's a little tricky. So if you go to afco.com and then on the very top on the blue, see where I'm doing that? You just click Black Friday. And yeah, it's all 50%.
Yeah, Mossy Oak Reaper for what,
$39, normally a $90. The soft shell jackets, $59. The quarter zip, $40. A Reaper sweatshirt, $49, regularly $80. And then you can scroll down and get some really good deals on stuff you can use next year. Here's a windproof jacket, $69, regularly $119. I love that boiler jacket. I've got one. It's $40 for the boiler jacket right now. Like, that's insanely good. The crosswinds puff, the flannels for $29. AFCO has a lot of good stuff. You want to get in on the vest game, look like Juice from Juice's Jigs. That's the Jigs.
Is he a vest guy too?
Oh my God.
Is that an Oklahoma thing?
Yes, that must be an Oklahoma thing, because it took me about a dozen years before I would agree to wear one, and now I'm vested up.
So Paige,
all this stuff.
I see there too. I mean, some of the big guy stuff. One of the cool things AFCO did was introduce kind of a big guy line for, some of their more popular offerings are offering in larger sizes, and not only just larger, but some tall sizes too for you guys that, everything you buy is short on you. So AFCO's got that covered too.
I haven't even looked at this stuff yet. I would highly recommend that F2 mid-layer fleece zip jacket.
Yeah, I've got a few of those.
It's available in that blue color in all of them for $49.
The cool thing I like about those, and I think you'd second me on that one, is when you're trying to layer, and it's typically hard to layer with a hoodie because they don't fit really well.
Yeah,
that F2 definitely is more form fitting, and it's designed as a layering piece versus just an outward hoodie, but you can wear it like that as well.
Anyway, bunch of women's stuff on there too. 5 full pages of AFCO stuff for insanely good deals.
Yeah.
All right, let me get centered on here again, and we will continue trekking on through Black Friday deals. Okay, let's go Missile next. Missile is, if you're an apparel guy, now we're talking, right?
Yeah, they've got a few things going on over there. I think it's a great time of year to throw a jig. Obviously, they've got some really cool jigs over there at Missile that people are fans of. The Ike's Mini Flip comes to mind. A lot of guys big fan of that jig. So right now at Missile, if you buy $50 worth of jigs, they're going to give you a free Missile Jigs shirt. Plus, there's some heavy discounts on some of their kits. If you're looking, kits are great. I mean, if you're looking to buy something for somebody that you don't know specifically what to get, always good to get a kit. They've got several of their kits on sale, and then their crew neck Missile sweatshirts are also on sale. But the jig deal is pretty cool. I mean, it doesn't take much to spend $50 on jigs, and you get a free shirt with that.
Fantastic. All right, on your end, what am I missing, Dave? Is Beatdown doing anything? I know I've talked about Beatdown a bunch.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, I think I pulled that up before. There it is, right there.
Yep. So there's a couple of different things that they are offering. There's the graphic. So $100 off their breakaway transducer poles. So that's very popular in the crappie market. The transducer pole.
We're not allowed to talk about crappie anymore.
Yep. A lot of guys are also using it in the walleye market now. So the breakaway transducer pole, you can get all the info on it over at Beatdown. Outdoors.com, $100 off on that, and then 20% off of the Flex bow mount. So you can get that for $250. So the Flex is the one you've seen. It's the one that folds down. So you guys that
okay, yeah,
the mounts, consistently mounted there. Great mount for bay boats, great mount for aluminum boats, even bass boats. But I mean, operates, in a fold down method, extends upwards like your ultimates and ultimate shorties, like the one you roll.
So it literally just
Yep. But you can extend it up as well, and super high quality, just like all of the beat down stuff. You can drop it down and put your graphs down when you're running or whatever. And also cool to have that one if you have kind of some constraints with your boat cover.
Yep.
Just fold it down. But for every $100 you spend, or excuse me, 20% of the total amount you spend, Beatdown is going to give you a clothing voucher. For the amount, 20% of whatever you spend, you're going to get a Beatdown clothing voucher.
A lot of their apparel is AFCO.
Yeah, it'll be emailed to you 24 hours after purchase. I actually just got, a big box of that stuff and had to shoot it last week, do the photos. You see some of the stuff there, some cool hoodies, some awesome new T-shirts. They do have some AFCO and Marshwear offerings there as well on the Beatdown website. So just a little bonus to their customers, 20% clothing voucher on, the amount you spend. So pretty cool.
That link is also there. I know you recently updated your electronics. A lot of people are Bass Tank back with BTL in 2025. And they have some crazy stuff going on over at the Bass Tank. All the Garmin stuff obviously on sale, but if you are looking to upgrade your active target to get an active target 2 and a live screen, you can get the active target 2 with the live sonar transducer system, so whatever their black box is, plus the HDS Pro that's normally like 27, 37, that's like 45, that's $5,000 you're looking at, and it's like $3,000 for the whole thing now.
Yeah, some crazy deals on Lowrance out there right now. And if you're looking to, just for a unit too, if you run Garmin's or whatever, or Humminbirds or whatever you do, we've talked about this numerous times. In my opinion, waypoint management in Lowrance is second to none. A lot of guys run the Lowrances on the dash in conjunction with other ones just for the ease of waypoint management. So if you were looking to grab one of those, this is definitely the time to do it. Bass Tank offering some cool deals there.
Yep. So you can head over to thebasstank.com and check that out. Also, a big sale at thebasstank.com on Pro Guide batteries. So you can get them there. Or also, Pro Guide is running their Black Friday deals as well. I think it is 40% off, including some lithium. So if
chargers
you're looking,
as well, right? They're new chargers,
which I've been exceptionally happy with for the past year. When they were like, "Hey, we want to put the whole system in your new boat," I was like, okay. and now, you know how irresistant to change. I liked what I had. I love the app that goes along with it. I was recently talking to Pate, who's over there. They're also a big supporter of the industry, big supporter of St. Jude, have jumped on with that tournament. I could say it now, Miles Berghoff, who's a friend of the show, he, through their connection with St. Jude, met Pate, he now is working with their pro staff and running their pro staff. Know that company really well. A lot of good lithium batteries out there on the market, but I think a lot of the BTL listeners got to know Pro Guide through Matt Looney coming on the show and talking and me asking dumb questions for a number of years. Well worth the investment and well worth knowing what Pro Guide stands for if you're going with a lithium choice. like I said, a lot of good ones out there.
Yeah, we actually.
But I could also give you a lot of reasons as to why you should go with ProGuide.
Yeah, a lot of good information out there too for people that are hesitant to make the jump to lithium. A lot of good information out there. We actually have a ultimate guide to lithium batteries over on Best on Tour now that kind of breaks down a lot of the FAQs, frequently asked questions.
Really? Can I pull that up like right now?
Yeah, I mean it obviously is it's under the ultimate guide section, which we got a lot of that stuff over there just to kind of make things, a little bit easier for people who are trying to make decisions on different products. It's one, the fishing app guide. Yep, there it is right there.
Ultimate lithium battery guide.
Mm-hmm. And it just, basically a breakdown of, some information, tons of different batteries. What I tried to do was kind of strictly keep it to the companies that support, the anglers on the professional tours and that are involved with fishing.
I didn't know this existed. This is freaking awesome.
Yeah, we've got a whole ultimate guide series.
And then you can actually go through and compare. I mean, they have Amp Battleborn, Dakota, Impulse, Lithium Pros, Miller Tech, Monster Marine, Next Gen, Norsk, Optima, Powerhouse, ProGuide, Rely On, and X2.
Yep, and then the intro there just kind of gives you a breakdown of difference between
auxiliary trolling, amp hour.
Yep, kind of gives you a little basic rundown of some information that you might want to check out before you purchase lithium batteries.
You guys are really going in on the website. I did not realize that.
Yeah, trying to keep it fresh and innovate it, and give people some more resources. The ultimate guides have been really popular. Try to do one of those at least a month. Need to do more. There's so much stuff out there that people request information on, and that's just a great way to do it and have it concise and in one place. And we're all about like we've always been with everything, just trying to teach people, give people more information to make informed decisions on purchasing, or whether you're trying to get sponsors or get a career in the industry, whatnot. We're trying to give as much information on that type of stuff as possible.
I was very disappointed that Sunline didn't have their visible tomato.
Very jealous.
Their visible tomato. I might be the only person in the United States that has a the filler 5-pack of visible tomato in the studio. Big fan of that.
I would dispute that statement. I think there's probably another person.
Oh, Mike.
Probably.
I could see him having that. Also do want to point out, so Omnia last week had, I think, like 20% off site-wide, kind of like a pre-Black Friday, Black Friday. If you go into the deals for the week here, it says that, this is through tomorrow, 25% off Z-Man Chatterbaits. If you're looking for a gift card for someone, for a friend, if you're for some reason listening or forced to listen to this show with your significant other who fishes, I've run into that a lot, Dave, of, oh yeah, I've unfortunately heard you for hours on road trips. And you're like, sorry, ma'am. But there's a $60 gift card for only $50 at Omnia, 20% off Mustang, all sorts of stuff. So Omnia always has great deals that kind of change week to week, but that's what they have.
Yeah, this is cool. I mean, you're showing me some stuff that I didn't know about. There's so many great deals out there. Pretty much every tackle.
They basically have a deal.
Check out their websites. They've got, offering pre-Black Friday deals, and who knows what they're actually going to offer on Black Friday. I mean, some of the stuff out there now is insane deals. I would expect there to be some really good stuff drop on Friday too. That's more exclusive to the day. And then don't forget, you've got, that Monday after, what they call Cyber Monday. So I would expect there just to be more deals than you have money to spend, frankly.
So this is a message that I got from Ricky last week from Omnia. I want to just make sure that there's nothing in here because I'll read it. I wanted to follow up and let you know that I set up a code name capital BTL Pro, capital BTL PRO, and will allow users to purchase our Pro membership. As soon as they do, they will receive a $50 gift card when they complete the purchase. Oh, and I'll add the page to direct them to this. There you go.
There you go. $50 free money at Omni if you subscribe to their Pro app deal, right?
Yeah. And you use the code BTL Pro, capital BTL Pro. All right. Anything else that has tickled your fancy, that you've caught out of the corner of your eye as far as
I got
steals,
something
deals,
that
other
not
thing?
a Black Friday deal on it. Might be a collector's item at this point.
Oh,
Tell me if
God.
you can see it.
Hold on a second. Oh my gosh, is that Mark Jeffries, founder of the Bass Zone BTL, and now head coach of the Southern Nazarene University bowling team? Hold that back up.
I did receive my merch. It wasn't a Ponzi scheme.
Why was I not made aware that there was SNU bowling merch on the market? Because I went to go purchase some, not available.
Well, I mean, he sent it out to close friends and family. Maybe you weren't on that list.
Depending on the day. Oh no, I talk to Mark now probably about once a month.
No, that was I don't know, what was that? Maybe, a couple months ago.
He's probably pissed that I didn't take him to catch hybrids.
Yeah, maybe he was a little bit miffed.
All the links for all this stuff that we talked about are in the YouTube description of the show.
Yep,
and I'll also copy them and put them in the iTunes description.
Yeah, a few months back, Jeffries sent me a link to purchase some of the merchandise to help fundraise for his bowling team, and actually purchased a few items and got them in the mail. So was happy with that. It's cool to see him move on to a different chapter and show a little support there for him. It's always good.
I might have actually just accomplished something that would never have happened before my life interacted with Mark Jeffries. Like, do we have a clear signal? Do we have crisp audio? Like, look, I'm going to go full screen. Like, does that look better than it has in the last month and a half? I haven't seen any lagging. I haven't seen like help me out here, people. Like, are we rocking and rolling at least for one day on November 26th? It appears as though I used my Mark Jeffries customer rant to escalate my broadband or my cable internet issue to level 3.
So no need for Starlink yet.
Apparently level 3 is like really hard to obtain. Like really hard to obtain level 3. Like that's where they actually send people out to look at your stuff and not just the tech guy or someone that reboots your modem and all that. So I did it without ever raising my voice. But I mean, I went into customer mode. I went into this is my livelihood mode. I went into, what do we got to do here? We'll see. At least for today.
You learn from the best.
That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know what level is raising your voice.
I've seen Jeffries at like level 19.
Okay. Yeah.
No, level 3 is like like that's a level 3 like call. Like not level 3 excitement level. Like level 1 is like, hey, we rebooted your modem. Level 2 is like, I guess we're gonna send someone out and pretend it. Are you kidding me? It literally just did it.
What level was
it just went to unstable connection. They're listening.
Perfect. You jinxed it.
They have to be listening. How does that happen?
It probably is.
Oh my gosh. Josh helped me out big time too. He said, I told Matt to dig into his inner Mark.
What level is
Yeah, it just froze.
They're definitely watching you.
Oh my gosh.
What level is substitute baked potato mode at Wenzel's?
That's 10.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's very few people in the industry that will get kicked out of a steakhouse over the substitution of a baked potato.
Or that may have not been Wenzel's. That may have been Top of the River.
That was Top of the River. Yeah. Wenzel's is the Oyster House.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're going to wrap things up. We're going to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
You going to do a little tackle shopping at your hidden gym in Illinois?
Yeah, we're only going back. Court's coming in today. We're only going back for like a full day and a half. So
how do places like that, that if nobody has been listening for years, Matt's kind of got a tackle shop in Illinois that he gets a lot of old school baits at and things like that. How do places like that? I mean, at some point there's an infinite amount of that stuff, right? Does he run out?
Finite? Yeah. So the Mike's Tackle World, Mike passed away. Joanne runs it. So it really was, I want to say, exposed and Mike and Joanne, they're as old school as they get, but they would keep adding like all the latest and greatest. So if you wanted to go in there, right? But the thing was so packed that they would just add it on top of the pegs. So like you might have 6 of the new Storm Wiggleworts, Rapala Wiggleworts, but underneath it were 3 rows of pre-Rapala Norman, Oklahoma Wiggleworts, for example. Or they did the same thing with models of Rogues and stuff. And then you don't have really many guys that go in there that are tackle junkies, like, as far as looking for things like that. So when the All-Star event, the All-Star Week, the Toyota Trucks All-Star Week went to Decatur, Illinois, and Fish Lake, Decatur. Aaron Martins went in there and was like, oh my God. We're talking like OG Bagleys, Rogues, Wiggleworts, the whole 9 yards. And then that led to the other guys finding it, and then a couple people from like the Tackle Retailer magazine. And then there were some YouTube videos that were done on it. I know the Baitman did like a series on it, and then the collectors, then the people who kind of knew what they had kind of came in, but they refused to do anything like over the internet, right? So like nothing's on the internet, so you kind of like have to go there and dig through it all. But Joanne would tell me, stories of guys who would come and spend $15,000 on baits, and they'd be like, hey, we're staying at the hotel down the road, and they would go through every aisle after aisle after aisle. Then they also allegedly, I don't know if this is true, this is what I've always heard, they have like some storage units that when Mike was buying stuff that are just packed to the ceiling of vintage 80s, 90s, early 2000 baits that no one has had really access to, or kind of knows exactly what the hell's in there, because it's a 30 by 12 storage unit that's nothing but Storm, Wiggleworts, Normans, that type of stuff.
Yeah, that brings up.
And they had a fire. They lost a lot in the fire, and I know a lot of the stuff from the original fire went into that storage unit. So
yeah, that brings up a good point that I wanted to I thought about and wanted to touch on before we even started the show. Guys, it's great that we talk about all these Black Friday deals with all our partners, and they're really doing some good stuff out there. But it's super important right now, especially if you do have a local tackle shop, a mom and pop, a brick and mortar, something small, try to support them on Black Friday as well. They're not able to offer maybe as deep a discounts on some of the things, but most of them are offering some specials. So really means a lot to those type of places. If you can stop by and spend some of your money locally as well.
Yeah. They actually do have a website, Mike's tackleworld.com. Here, I'll show it. That's where I bought my first rod and reel, all my baits, everything. Like if you look at it here, I'll refresh it. It's literally just, that's it. It doesn't look like much. And then, that's iconic. And then you walk through and look at how so like that's all like above your head on that. And I hopefully they'll show some of the bass aisles, but there you legitimately cannot fit anything else into any aisle of any store, like anything on it.
Those are the best type of places.
I've been there every single holiday, and when I'm home and I still spend there you go. Like, look at that. Look at all those baits. Like, look how deep they are. Look how long. I mean, that's like up 9-10 feet above you. Very claustrophobic. All sorts of old school stuff.
Yeah, you don't find many places like that anymore.
Look at that. And then they have all the new stuff too on top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joanne's known me since I was 5 years old.
Yeah, that's super cool.
So, all right, Dave. Let me hit the music. I thought it was a good show.
Yeah, I mean,
I enjoyed it. Like,
covered a lot of topics. Wasn't all Black Friday, but for those of you that
and it was
that we're
big on
looking
supporting
for
the companies that
deals,
support BTL. We do 200 shows a year on BTL, completely free for all the viewers, for all the listeners on all platforms. The only reason we're able to do that, and that I'm able to do that, is because a number of reasons. One is the support of the companies in the industry that support BTL. But I'm not jaded. I understand that the reason why they support BTL is that the BTL listeners support them. So as we go into Thanksgiving, thank you guys. Cannot thank you enough to the BTL family. Cannot thank the sponsors of BTL enough. Are you going to get to mess with the wishbone, or do you save that for like in the turkey? Like, are you a guy who, you dry the wishbone out, Dave, and then you pull it, and then the guy who gets the bigger half of the wishbone has more luck?
No,
you just grab a leg and watch football.
Yep, we got a little rivalry week.
It is
Clemson, Carolina here. It's a big deal. Playing at noon, they're messing up everybody's after Thanksgiving tournament day. First time they played at noon in forever.
On Thanksgiving or on Saturday?
No, on Saturday. But, a lot of tournaments the Saturday after Thanksgiving, and a lot of guys around here thinking about not fishing them because they want to be in front of that TV watching that game.
That's fair. South Carolina smoked OU, but then OU smoked Alabama. This has been another edition of BTL Bass Talk Live. We will talk to everybody on December 2nd. Have a safe and happy Thanksgiving. See ya.